Part 3 of Telepathically Dispatched. In our last installment, we learned that the strange passenger our cab driver had picked up had an alleged spaceship parked in the wilderness near Snoqualmie Pass. A spaceship? I said skeptically. Who are you?
On this planet, as well as most of the planets in this galaxy, I am known as Bud Newpole, Interstellar Traitor. I visit your planet at least every 5 of your years, sometimes more. I find your planet a very profitable place to do business. I sat there in disbelief, staring at the supposed interstellar traveler who called himself Bud Newpole, and then turned my head to look at the huge metal cylinder that had suddenly appeared in front of me. I thought that this had to be some kind of elaborate gag that was being played on me. I looked around for signs of a hidden camera crew or some other clue to bring me back to reality. I can understand your skepticism, Bud said to me, but I assure you there is no hidden camera crew in the bushes. In fact, if anyone else were here, they wouldn't be able to see my rig, because through telepathic sensory blocking, I can control who is able to see it.
You said you chose me to take you here. Was that through telepathy also? I questioned.
Yes, that's right, Bud said. But you can think of it as a coincidence that the woman you drove to Bellevue just happened to have her car break down 2 blocks from where you were sitting at 4th and Spring.
How did you know I was at 4th and Spring? I asked.
The mind is capable of things that you Earthlings have hardly begun to realize. But enough of that. May I call you James? That is your name, is it not?
Yes, it is, I said. The being called Bud Newpole looked at me with piercing eyes.
I suppose you are wondering why I chose you to bring me here, he said. The truth is, I have a job offer to make you. The pay, of course, will be handsome by Earth standards. Which reminds me, I should pay you the balance of what I owe you for this trip. I have this $100 bill left from my shopping trip, or, if you prefer, this.
He reached down to his side and from out of nowhere produced a large silver bar. On one side was stamped the name Engelhard, .999 fine. On the other side, 100 ounces.
I believe you Earthlings place a high value on silver, Bud said.
I had seen bars of silver before, and this one looked and felt authentic. I multiplied out the values with the current spot price of silver. This is worth much more than what you owe me, I said.
Oh, don't worry about that, Bud said, laughing. On my home planet, as in most of the galaxy, metals like gold, silver, and platinum are extremely common. We have an overabundance of metals. Most of all of our housing, transportation, and other machinery is made of these metals. But there is such an abundant supply of metals everywhere that they have almost no intrinsic value, except in very large quantities. But this, he said, pointing to the cartons in the back of my cab, all the metal on my planet could not buy this valuable cargo.
But what is so valuable about TV dinners and tissue paper? I asked, perplexed. Bud reached over the seat, tore open a case of the TV dinners, and removed one from its waxed paper carton.
Cellulose, my dear boy, cellulose, he said,
as he chomped down on the still frozen food
aluminum and all. That's mighty tasty filling in this aluminum. But cellulose is simply the cells that make up wood fibers, I said, getting more confused by the minute. Exactly and precisely, Bud said. Most of the known supply in this galaxy exists on your planet Earth. My home planet has almost no vegetable matter and is completely devoid of cellulose. It's amazing we were able to develop interplanetary travel without it. What does cellulose have to do with interplanetary travel? I asked. Quite frankly, it has everything to do with interplanetary travel, my boy, Bud said. There is a peculiar property of the structure of cellulose which makes it the perfect fuel for space propulsion. One of those rolls of tissue paper in those cartons back there is enough to propel my ship for a distance of 100 billion light years. One of those Presto logs is enough to propel a large star cruiser for the same distance. If the location of your planet were known by the general population of the galaxy, the uproar would likely cause a stellar war. Your planet should be glad that I am the only person in the rest of the civilized universe who knows about your abundance of cellulose. Of course, there are other planets with sparse forms of cellulose with which fuel cells can be made, but the cost is extremely expensive. When I discovered these products manufactured on your planet, everyone wanted a supply to fuel their cellulose transverters. As you can imagine, I make a handsome profit for every trip I make to Earth. Bud Newpel got out of the car, then stuck his head back inside the window. Why don't you help me load up my cargo, and I'll show you the inside of my ship. Well, okay, I said. Let's see if this thing is for real. I got out, opened the back, and carried a carton of toilet paper to the huge metal cylinder. A hatch opened, revealing a spacious cargo hold with a number of unusual crates and packages. We loaded all the boxes into the cargo hold, then went through a door at the rear of the compartment. These are my living quarters, Bud said, as we entered into a plushly furnished apartment. On the lower deck, I have a swimming pool and complete recreational facilities. As for food, using the fiber in those bags of rice I purchased, my computer chef can manufacture any known food in the universe. Why don't you come forward to the navigation room, and I'll show you my cellulose transverter. As I walked down a narrow hallway, I had to admit that the setup of Bud Newpel's ship did seem rather impressive. But did the thing really fly? And on toilet paper? I still wasn't convinced Mr. Newpel was on the level. The navigation room was full of instrument panels, switches, buttons, and video screens. There was one captain's chair in the center of the room, with the helmet mounted on it at head level. A bundle of wires came out of the helmet and plugged into the instrument panel. Off to one side was a small metal unit that looked like a wood-burning stove. This is my cellulose transverter, Bud said proudly. But it looks like an ordinary buck stove to me, I commented. Of course, Bud said. Where do you think Buck got the idea? Oh, I said. I began to wonder just what kind of job this highly advanced person could possibly need me to do. Before I could ask him the question, Bud gave me the answer. To be continued.